Good morning, everyone, and welcome to our daily word this morning. It is Thursday, January 21st. We are rapidly making our way through the month of January. So glad you could join me for a few minutes together this morning as we take a look into our daily word and a conversation about that and some ideas about what it means to put that into practice in our lives. And so I've chosen this morning just one verse from the 13th chapter of Deuteronomy, although we'll talk a little bit about some more of the verses. Deuteronomy chapter 13, verse 4. And it says this: It is the Lord your God you must follow, and him you must revere. Keep his commands and obey him, serve him, and hold fast to him. So, if you were to look at this 13th chapter of Deuteronomy, if you were to look at the beginning of it, the first three verses that you read there, the writer of Deuteronomy gives us a warning against believing false prophets. And more to the point, really, they warn us against trusting in circumstances. And so Moses commands that even if a prophet predicts something that comes to pass, that doesn't mean that they should immediately be trusted just because something happens like that. And that's an important teaching, I think, for us today. We sometimes tend to trust our imperfect perception of circumstances. And if something happens that we like, we assume that's God. And if something happens that we don't like, we assume that that's just punishment or that God doesn't have God's hand in it. But our feelings about a circumstance, the writer says, shouldn't dictate our belief. Yesterday, I don't know what you all did, but yesterday, as I always do, I watched the inauguration. It's an interesting thing to watch, no matter who the person is that's elected. The circumstance, the pop-up circumstance, the prayers. I appreciate the prayers that happened there by the two pastors that were involved yesterday. The poets, the singing. All of that is intriguing to me about how all of that happens. And as people are introduced, as they come through those double doors, if you listen close, they are called the honorable and the honorable so-and-so, and they come through the doors and they take their place. All of that's an interesting way that we go about things in this country. Now, inaugurations didn't always happen. Presidents had to take the oath of office, but it didn't have to be this big pomp and circumstance and all the things that we see now. But it's an interesting thing. And so, as we know, in our culture, there are folks on both sides of the aisle. For some folks, it was a great day. I've read for some folks who said it was a sad day. And, none of that, I just enjoy the moments of those kind of days. But I'm reminded in all of that we all need some perspective in our lives. And the writer of Deuteronomy, Moses, says to us that it's God that we must follow. It's God that we must revere. It's God's commands that we should listen to. It's God who we should obey. It's God who we should serve, and it's God that we should hold fast to. And somewhere along the way, it seems that we've lost a bit of sight about where it is that our following and our reverence should go. Not to presidents or to senators or to singers or even to pastors, who got to pray. I told Diane last night when we were watching a bit of the after thing, I said, I talked to my brother earlier in the day, and we were talking about the folks who serve, and Many folks who serve politicians on both sides of the aisle are have some age on them. And we both said that by 78, I hope to be retired. But I said to Diane, I'd hope to be retired at 78, but if they asked me to do something, I would do it. And Diane said, yep, you most certainly would. You wouldn't say no. And the reason is because I think that in all of our lives, we are called, as Moses says in Deuteronomy, to serve God and to hold fast to God's call and plan and hope and direction for our life. And I don't think we should ever age out of that we should just say, well, I've done my part and I'm just going to go away. And so I want to challenge all of us, in our thinking these days, whatever side of the aisle we find ourselves, whether we're happy or sad about how all of this turned out, is that first and foremost, we must follow God and look to God for guidance. We must revere God and ask God to guide our lives. We have to keep God's commandments and obey God. We should serve God and hold fast to God. And I know, if we do those things, if that's the forefront of our thinking, then the idea of suddenly name calling and putting each other down and being separated by the things that keep us separated, which are mostly because of you and because of me, because we just choose that together, it's what we try to do. It's what we try to do in church at St. Paul's and other churches I've served, that we try to find common ground where we can serve with each other and that God can guide us in our thoughts. You've heard us say many times, and if you've been on mission trip with us, you would know, but, the first year we arrived at Morgan Scott in Tennessee, we were pretty unsure about what was going to happen. But we found out rather quickly that the common ground between us and the folks in Morgan County and Scott County, Tennessee, the common ground between us and folks who work there and head up these projects, the common ground was immediate because we all wanted to serve God. We wanted to hold fast to God in our lives. And, if we're ever to find success in our world, if we're ever to be really good at what God calls us to, we'll take heed and do what Moses says in Deuteronomy. Hear the words again, and I'm going to add my own words. It's the Lord your God you must follow. You must revere God. You must keep God's commands. You must obey God. You must serve God, and you must hold fast to Him. As always, presidents, senators, governors, they come and they go. They serve for a time and they go, and new people come. Pastors of churches come and go. They serve, they go and serve another church, they retire. It's God, you see, that we must serve and hold fast to. And that's what I really hope that we might strive to do in the days and the years and in all the time to come. Because together, you and I, if we really did this together, I believe we'll make a big difference in the world and the people around us. One of the things I get to do, last week I drove the church bus for just a quick Student United Way trip. It lasted about 40 minutes. I consider that, my community service, they pay for the gas in the bus. They write a check to the church. I don't get paid for that. It's my community service. I'm going to do that again in February for the Chamber of Commerce. And it's going to be an entire day kind of thing. And they'll give me some lunch and they'll pay for the gas in the bus. But it's my opportunity to serve and to be of help to those around us who are then, because of United Way and because of Chamber of Commerce, are trying to make the world a better place, our community a better place. You see how that works? Keep God's commands, serve God, and hold fast to Him. Because I say yes to Scott about taking the bus, because folks then make their way around the community with my help, and because of donations to United Way, the world, our community specifically, is a better place. That, I believe, is what Moses is calling us to. And together, we can help and be successful as Moses calls us to. So take heed of that. Listen to where it is that God might be calling us to serve and where God wants us to put our allegiance. And if we do that, I think we'll have better perspective in our lives as well. So I pray you'll have a great day. I pray you'll know of God's love and peace and joy in your lives. I hope you'll be ready to join us on Sunday morning for worship. We're going to be talking about the calling of the first disciples and that unique call to be fishers of people. And we'll share in that conversation. But also join me again tomorrow morning at 10 o'clock as we spend a few moments together. So know of God's love and grace in your lives, and know of my love for all of you. And I'll look forward to seeing you tomorrow morning at 10 o'clock. Have a great day.